let's have a more let's have a another example about loop. Then after that, I'll move into template literals. Then I'll start explaining other in-depth aspects of backend development. So we'll move into asynchronous programming, right? Where we'll talk about what really goes on um, when we talk about how exactly do we schedule tasks in JavaScript. Then we'll move on into talking about Node, and then we'll talk about Express.js later. Okay, but for now, let's have a detailed explanation of what I mean by reduce while loop when you do not know the amount of iterations you want to have. For instance, let's have a password. Let's say you want a particular user to press a particular password. Let's say you wanted to press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the password that you want to press, isn't it? Now, what now happens when they press wrong password multiple times, right? It will keep looping through. No, this is not what I want you to press. I want you to press this. Do you understand now? So now say let password let password equals to, let's say, empty string. Let's set it to empty string. Now, for instance, it's empty string, right? Of course, every password has to be empty string. Now, why is it an empty string? An empty string because you want a user to input that password. You understand that it's an empty string. Please note this. You want the user to always input that password. Now, you cannot say, well, right? So we now want to say make sure that users don't input passwords like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But why? It's too easy. It's too common. So what do we want? In fact, instead of this, I'm just going to write prompt. Okay, no. Let me use prompt. Let's just use empty string. Let's just use empty string. Now, we can now say password. We want to make sure that our password does not equal to what? What's the name? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can say does not equals to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if we have that now, the next thing that we can now go, can say, okay, password should now be equals to what? Prompt, enter what? Password. Enter the password. Now, what is going to happen now is that what? We are always going to see enter password until user inputs what? This particular password. So now, I want us to check out what we're going to have now. So the next thing that we're going to have should be, so I'm going to say console.log, if they keep entering that particular password, what do we want? Incorrect password, try again. So now let us try it and let us see what happens. So we should have what? Password correct. After, I move on to alert this. I don't want to have a console. Alert password was correct. Now, what? Sorry? This one? This one? Yes. No, like a colon, like, if you go to it, you should say enter password. You can choose to remove a string. You can put a colon there. Now, let us try and see what we have now. If I go ahead and I refresh this, what do we have again? It's already becoming a, I just remembered that it's threw us out. So let us go live again. Let's see what we have. So you should open up Chrome now. Okay, good. Now, refresh, enter password. Now, if I press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what happens? Incorrect password. Okay, now it's telling us password correct. Okay, let me check this thing again. I think there is a problem with my code. Now, what did you say? Let password equals to empty string. Now, while password is not equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what do you want? This is the condition. Incorrect password, try again. This is a mistake on my end. Now, we are saying that if password, this is like an if statement. If password is not equals to this what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? What do you want? Console.log incorrect password, try again. But if it is not equal to it, what do you want? Correct password. Congratulations, you are in. Something like that. So now, how do we do it? Let me even use this. I want to use Chrome because it looks as if I was not understanding you. Okay, good. So now let us check out. Let's inspect. Okay, let me cancel it first. Wait, cancel. What's wrong? It's not even giving me the option to inspect. So let's cancel it and let's. Okay, now it's a loop. So it's going to keep doing like that. Let me just remove every single thing now. So that I'll be able to, again, this loop, open up another one. Okay, good. Now let us try and inspect and let's see what we have. Now I'm going to inspect and go to my console. Inspect and go to my console. Then we're going to have the same thing now. Now, exactly. So now what do we have here? It says enter password. If I write Paul, brings it up, incorrect password, try again. Paul again, incorrect password. But if I write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, enter, what is it telling me? Password correct. And then automatically everything loop ends. But if I do not include the password, note what happens. It keeps coming. That means it's going to tell me that even if you write this in 100 times, I'm going to keep coming 100 times. Why? Because it is basically targeted at, situations whereby you don't know the amount of loops you want to have. Do you understand? And that's why while loops are very much important. Do you understand it? All right. So now let us go ahead and have. I'm just going to comment this out. You can write it down if you want to. Comment that. Let us go ahead and talk about template literals. Now, when we talk about template literals, what exactly are we talking about? Let me see template. I think I've explained this before, but let's just go ahead and do it again. Template literals. Now, what do we mean by literals? Template literals are very much this. Template literals are a special way of writing in JavaScript, help you with your strings. And the third thing is that what you can even create HTML elements in JavaScript with what your template. But we're not going into that because this is a backend class. But now, that is basically what your template is. When we're talking about what I agree with, both double quote. Now, and functionality. And now this is the very functionality inside of this string. Now, how do you do all of these things? Let's say you want to create a variable. Let's do something very, very basic. I can say let first name right? Now we can have the same thing, let last name equals to utilizing concatenation plus plus, then we have to have something like this. Then what? Plus last name. Now this is concatenation. Now, one thing is that this is looking, well, we might say it's looking very good until you have to do something very, very bulky. And then after using plus, 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 it's going to look messy. So now, one thing template literals help you solve is this concatenation, issue of concatenation. Now I can have let full name, right, equal to, then I can have my backticks, right? Now, one thing that you can now use is that you can use a template literal. Template literal, such as your dollar sign. Now, this dollar sign now allows you to add variables inside of it so that you can also call them out. Now, I can have my variable inside of this particular backticks now, add a dollar sign in what? Curly braces. Then I can have my what? First name. Then what? I can also have what? Another dollar sign. I can have my what? My last name. Now, if I console.log full name, I save it up and you check it out, what exactly are we going to have? We should have John Doe, as you can see, John Doe, right? Now, this is one way in which you can what? You can make adjustments and then even do much more functionality with your JavaScript, with your template literals. So template literals are very much important for you to understand as a developer. Do you understand it? Okay, so now that's that about template literals. Any question on the basic parts that we've covered so far in JavaScript before moving on to the next step? Because we need to finish JavaScript in this first month. Let's finish it up. Is it? Yeah, if you have any question, you can always ask me now. Because after today, we're going into something deeper. When I say something deeper, we're going into asynchronous JavaScript. And this is going to lead us into talking about APIs. Creating APIs. Now, it is not, like I always say, it's not hard. It's just something that you have to put your mind to, like, you have to always be on it 24/7. That's it. And you always have to ask questions. That's moving. That's what I'm asking now. Any question before we move on to the next thing? Not to ask your question. Questions like it. Functions. Functions are what they do. Who else has problems? Star, which you understand everything. By the grace of God, oh, you understand it. You're very, very sure. Okay, you understand it. Of course, you are not supposed to be teaching us because you've done this thing. This is the place you run. Okay. But you understand it up to there. What about you? What issues do you have? The classwork that I gave last on Monday. Switch. You have to switch. Switch cases and function. No, but I was trying. I went to I planned, but then I lost it. But I see it good and switch. They are. What about you, Mr. Samuel? But you understand everything so far. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now let me just go ahead and let's talk about functions again. Let's talk about functions. Why am I talking about functions again? I just want everybody, because like I said, you really cannot do anything in JavaScript without functions. It's not possible, because every single thing is a function. You want your fan to turn, function. You want to make payments on your application, function. Function connecting to other functions. So if you don't understand how function works, there is no way you can start creating APIs yourself. There is no way you can become a backend developer. In fact, there's no way you can become a front-end developer if you do not really understand how all of these things. And I think you have an edge, because everybody here, apart from him, you are all in front-end classes also. So you have an edge. You can talk about JavaScript now, and then if you don't, which you should still understand. But if you don't fully get the details, you still have a chance to still do this thing again in your front end. Although, get to a point to start doing different things in front end. So right now, I'm not talking about events. In front end, we'll talk about events, talk about DOM, talk about a lot of things. Now that's different. But again, you understand the basics of JavaScript. So now, when we talk about functions, what exactly do we mean by functions? Just like I explained in our last class. Functions are that particular block of code you write to perform a specific action. And for instance, let us take a look at this fan like I used as an explanation in our last class. Do you want this fan to blow something as it's blowing me like this, right? I have to give it a functionality. Now, sometimes these functionalities can be standalone, sometimes they can be intertwined. Now, what do you mean by intertwined? For instance, this particular fan, yes, we know that it has a function of blowing air, right? But it can't work unless you turn on another function, which is the switch. As you can see, they are intertwined. One function cannot work except a particular function is activated. You understand it now? It's the same thing as this particular fan. You know that, okay, it moves around, it moves around, it moves around. But there's a particular place where you station it. Once you station it, it stops moving around. Do you get it now? Now, that is what function. Do you get it now? So now, how do you write functions in JavaScript? That is one problem that I know that a lot of us will be facing. But now there are three things. I'm going to explain it first before I write anything. Three things you need to put into consideration before writing functions. The first is your what? Is you need to first of all define that function. Now, how do you define a function? So if they say, oh, define water. How will you define water? You basically will give it probably like a one-line definition or two-line definition. Now, that's not the definition I'm talking about here. When I say define something, just say what you want that function to do. Right? So for instance, I want to create a function that multiplies two numbers. I can define and say multiply two numbers. Or I can say multiply. What am I doing? Can you turn on the AC? So what am I doing? First of all, I'm giving that function a name. Right? I used an example the first time we did function, I think last week. That for instance, if you give birth, what you do is that you do naming ceremony, right? So 7 days, you back from 7 days or 8 days later, what happens? You do that particular naming ceremony. Do you get it now? And then you give that child a name. Do you get it? Now, that is just what your function is. The first thing is what? Initialize your function by giving that function a name. So first is what? Initialize what? Initialize function name. That's the first thing. First thing first. Now, second thing is that what you now go ahead to what pass in the action. Passing the action you want that particular function to perform. You understand? Then the last thing, declare it or call the function. Call the function to perform this action. Now, these three things are what you need. Again, first, initialize a function by giving the name, passing the action you want to perform, then what? Call the function you want to perform. Call the function to perform the action. Now, let us use multiplying two numbers. So, function, as you can see, then I can give it a name, multiply. Can you see it now? Then you have your parentheses, and then you have your what? Curly braces. Then I can say, okay, I want to multiply two numbers together. I can just easily say console.log 2 times 3. You're not here in the last class when we did a lot of function. I think when we did function, she wasn't here. So now 2 times 3. I think I have to, let me just copy this and bring out some of the functions that we did in our last class. So this is some of the things that we did in our last class. Some of them. So I will just bring it back. I think I want to bring it back also. You can see it. Right. So let's go back. Bring back the very good. So now I'm just going to comment it out. Very good. So now what do we have? We have what? Initialize function. Then the last thing is what? Call the function to perform the action. What's the function name? So for you to perform the action, you have to what? Call multiply. So that's what? Multiply. And this is how you call it. Multiply and then what? This parentheses. Automatically your function works. Now, if you check it out now, what are you going to have? You should have what? Yeah. So if you refresh 6, do you get it now? Now, that is how your function basically works. That's all. But now, there are not certain additional things that now happens in your function, right? For instance, you will not always have functions like a very basic way of writing functions. Sometimes you want your function to perform something more. Now, that is where I'm going to talk about parameters. So let's say parameters. Parameters. Now, parameters are like variables that are passed into a function. Now, what do I mean by variables passed into a function? Do you remember when I talked about local and global scope? Very good. When we talk about local variables, what does that mean? Local variables are variables defined within a block of code. While global variables are those variables defined that actually affects the total code. Do you get it now? Now, your parameters are like a function scope or local scope, in the sense that you pass them as what variables to a function that only affects that particular function. Now, in this case, I want to multiply two numbers together, 2 and 3, right? I can just easily say, okay, I'm going to give this A, comma, B. Now, what have I just done? I've passed two parameters, which is what? A and B. Do you get? Now, I cannot go ahead and say, okay, console.log, can I have what? A times what? Times B. Now, I can have more functionality. And what are the functionalities? Functionalities like, okay, I want to have a prompt for two of these numbers. I can say, let A equals to what? Let's say prompt, enter first number. Can you see it now? I can have another prompt. Let B equals to what? Enter second number. Then this is what I want to have. Console.log A times B. You understand it now? Now, in my multiply, I can just go ahead and what, leave it like this. You don't even need anything. Now, if I go ahead and I check out my it already has, there's a problem here. So as you can see, because I have declared it already in this place, all I have is A equals to prompt, this and that. So if I check it out, if I enter first number as 3, okay, second number as 3, what do I have? As 3, 9. Can you see it? Refresh, 4 times 5, 20. Do you get it now? That function. So what did I just do here? I made it more dynamic rather than I was just having it put into that place. So what did I say? Two parameters, A and B, like a what? That's like a what's the name of a variable. So, and I said, okay, the first variable has a prompt, enter first number, enter second number, and then this is the main functionality to multiply. Do you get it now? Now that's all about functions. And I also talked about arrow functions. The arrow functions are just similar to this. But the only difference, one major difference is that what arrow functions cannot be called before they are defined. So, for instance, see this. If I copy this multiply and I call this multiply first, you know, before I put multiply was on that, but now I'm calling multiply if I define it. Check it out and see what happens. If I refresh, so enter first number. Let me refresh it again. Enter first number 4, enter second number 5, 20, still working. This is very, very wrong. This is like saying that you are calling a child that you're not giving birth to help you do something. How's it possible? It's not possible. So now, this is not strict enough. That is why arrow functions were introduced. So make sure that what functions can be called unless they are what defined. So now if I say const multiply, right, equals to what the same thing, A comma B, right? Then we have this. Now if I say A equals to what prompt, enter first number, then similarly I have the same thing with my B, enter second number, then console.log A times B. Now, if I call it out now, I can say multiply. Now it is going to work. Now if you check it out, 3, 3, 9. But what if I take this up? Do you understand? And one of the reasons why it cannot work, who can tell me why it cannot work? Yes, I told you the reason why it shouldn't work. You shouldn't be able to call things before you use them. But why can it not work? You know it, don't worry, just think about it. Why is it telling us cannot access multiply before initialization? Back in class, you think of try. Why is it that we cannot call multiply? It's saying that cannot access multiply before initialization. Why can we not access multiply before initialization? By just looking at this code. Yes, that's the reason. But why? Why is it giving us the error? But if I do it with this one, it's going to work. We're using the arrow function, but there's something in the arrow function that makes it not work. The const. So when we're talking about variables, what happened in the variables? I said var allows for redeclaration and what? In it, reinitialization. Let does not allow redeclaration, but you can reinitialize. But const does not allow any of those things. Now, if you now try to like define a variable before using it with letter const or even var, what happens? It's not going to work. Let me show you what I'm trying to say. Let me remove this. Let's say console.log Paul, or let's say console.log first name, right? I'm not saying first name, or let's say let first name equals to John. Now, what have I just done here? I'm saying console.log first name. I'm trying to initialize a particular name that I've not defined. I first of all called it out before. Now, as you can see, cannot access first name before initialization. It's still the same response that you got from that error message. Now, that is what they did with TS6. They have to look for a way to make sure that what functions can be called. You understand? Before initialization. That's just it. Now, even if I use var, I want you to check what happens. Even var that we are saying that is loose, still, it's even going to give you undefined instantly. And that's one problem with var. var is too loose. It's just supposed to give you an error, but it's giving you undefined. Do you get it now? Now, if you check const, it's going to give you what? The same error message, which is what? Cannot access first thing before initialization. Is it clear to you? Now, that is basically why. So, I hope we'll understand functions now. Very good. So, I'm free. Okay, fine. So now that's that about functions. Which one? This one. Let me just split my screen so that I can have access to both of them. Can I see it now? This is what we wanted to write.